Okay, so in today's video we are going to look at the need to pass through the darkness to become, to transform into your soul sovereign self. We need to go through that darkness so that we can pass back into the light, renewed, rebirthed. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi and welcome back to Oaklaw Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you. And we're once again tackling, and I know I've done videos on this and I know it came out in yesterday's Facebook post, but we're tackling again the need for us all to walk in our shadow self. I'm not talking about darkness, walking and going to dark places, taking ourselves to dark places that we have no place being. What I'm talking about is facing the darkness within, walking in that darkness within ourselves, embracing it, understanding it, taming it, balancing it, before we can fully emerge as a transformed soul sovereign being into the light. And there have been lots of tests. There have been lots of tests for all of us that are on the spiritual path over the last 2 years, especially. It's been going on since time, but in the last 2 years we have seen a massive increase in our resolve being tested, in a revisit, and we've just had that with the Mercury retrograde, which we're just coming to the end of, I believe, where Mercury retrograde brings us back those opportunities to see if we've actually learnt the lessons, to see if we will repeat the patterns, or whether we've learnt the lessons, taken the gems, stepped away and modified our behavior, modified our patterning, modified our mindset. Have we changed? Have we evolved? It's not about you'll get yours. It's about, have we learnt? Have we stepped away from that dysfunction? And when I'm talking about dysfunction, I'm not talking about the judgment of other people that believe it's dysfunctional. I'm talking about the dysfunction within ourselves. It stops us, each and every one of us, from reaching our full soul sovereign potential. Abundance is infinite. The possibilities available to us are infinite. Where they're limited, and we have a limited life experience because of the limited beliefs, values and mental capacity that we're carrying. And these tests, these revisits, as it were, when we have Mercury retrograde, when things come back onto our spectrum, a patterning that we've seen before but was a different person, or it's different circumstances, or it's a different person and different circumstances, but it feels familiar. It feels familiar for a reason. It's checking in with you. Its energy's checking in. Okay, Claire, have you learnt that? What are you going to do differently this time? How are you going to change that experience? And these are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. This is the inner reflective work that we need to be doing. And let's be honest, we're not going to get it right every single time. We're going to make some changes and think, oh, that hurt even more, or oh, that pinched even more, or we're going to make some changes and say, yeah, that was I was in a better place, but I don't feel I was the best version of myself, and so I know that I still need to do a little bit of work on that. The biggest hurdle that I'm seeing out there, and many spiritual leaders, teachers, gurus, whatever label you want to apply. I'm just a spiritual being having a physical life and doing the best I can and sharing what I'm doing in the hope that it helps somebody out there. If you want to give me a label, fine. If you don't, fine. What I'm actually seeing out there and what I'm seeing within the spiritual community is there are many, even very highly, or what we perceive to be very highly evolved spiritual beings, not facing their darkness. Now, there's a twofold thing going on here. One, they're limiting themselves and they're not reaching that full potential. They're not reaching that full potential. They're not reaching their purpose. And I can't say what their purpose is. Each and every one of us will know what our purpose is. And it's not about waving a flag going, over here, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm offering, this is how I can help. It's about the choices and the steps and the information we share through everyday conversation, the actions we take through everyday activities. We can inspire, we can ignite change through just normal daily activities. You don't need to go on a course, you don't need to go on a retreat, you don't need to be holding a course, you don't need to be holding a retreat. All of those things are lovely, and yes, it does mean that if, like me, you do teach about spirituality, you can reach a greater number in a shorter period of time, which is fantastic. That may not be your path, that may not be your road, that may not be where divine wants you at the moment. Sometimes we have to pull back. Sometimes divine tells us to pull back so that we can go inwards, we can be introspective, and we can do even more shadow work. Time is not linear, and the process is not step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's cycles. And those cycles will come back round. And as I said right at the beginning, those cycles may be there to see, have we learnt that lesson? Have we modified our behaviour? Or that cycle may be come round because there was something we didn't see the first time. We weren't ready to see the first time. And I think that's the key. It's not about being hard on yourself. If a cycle is repeating, it's not about, oh, well, I must be really thick, I didn't do that. I didn't see that. It may be that you didn't see it, it wasn't made clear, it wasn't shown to you because there were other aspects within your energetic field, within your psyche, within your beliefs and values, within your mindset at that time, where you were, your place, your space at the time. There was something more important to see, to do, to change, to evolve in, before this could come back round and you could see it. Let's not be hard on ourselves. Let's remember it is a process. What's evident in the spiritual community at the moment is that a lot of people are whitewashing over their shadow work. They're dipping in and then they're coming out because it's uncomfortable. They're dipping in and then they're coming out because it's uncomfortable. I can't tell you that you shouldn't be doing that. What I can tell you is the gold is at the bottom of the pot. The deeper you dig, the more precious the gems. But also be mindful not to push yourselves. If you're not feeling ready, then you're not feeling ready, and honour that. But if you know you're intentionally running because you know what you've got to dig through to get to the gems, then go and get help, get support, get somebody to walk with you. They can't do it for you, but they can walk with you. Find somebody that you resonate with, that is possibly had personal experience. I know in my world, sometimes that's helpful, sometimes it isn't. I'm of a personality that I like to use people, hire people, work with people that have experienced that certain example of paradigms, that certain pain, that certain trauma, because then I don't have to find the words. I can allow myself to re-feel it and heal it without expressing it. That is how I do my healing. We are all different. Other people like to express it verbally. Understand yourselves. That is the big key to what we're doing. That is the base foundation. Face. I wonder why face came out. The face of. Interesting. The base foundation of what soul sovereignty is about. It's about knowing and understanding yourself and being 100% comfortable with it, even the warts, because the warts can be treated. It's about loving yourself unconditionally, which allows you to love others unconditionally, even those that are giving you ish, sending you ish, doing ish. You just sit and go, right, okay, they're obviously in a bad spot. They're obviously in a bad place. They've obviously got something to learn. I'm obviously triggering them in some way that they feel that they need to do that, but that is not my ish, that is theirs. I will not tolerate it, but I will not also engage with it. I am not going to let it take my energy. I send them love, and I hope that they do what is needed and they use their free will to address that, to sort that, so that they can have a happy, fulfilling life. That's where we're going. We have to go into our darkness. We cannot hop, skip and jump. It will, if you do that, bite you on the ass later. And I don't say that as a threat. This is not me going, you need to do. No, it's just how energy works. It's how the cosmos works. It's the cycles. We've talked many, many times about karmic cycles, about that karma coming back. If you put out bad ish, it'll come back and get you. It's not as a punishment. It's so that you can learn, stay in your own lane, do your own thing, be your own person, stand in your power. And if you don't have your power, where have you given it? And if you've given it all away, call it back. It's yours. It belongs to you. It doesn't belong to anybody else. Nobody else can do with that power what you can do with that power. And everybody and everything that they contribute is valid, is needed within the greater collective consciousness. We have a massive increase with mental health. We have a massive increase globally with drug abuse. We have a massive increase in addictive behaviors, destructive addictive behaviors. Do not be delusional. These are energies, entities that are attaching themselves to you, feeding off of you. It's that the polarities between the light and the dark, the good and the evil, is most of us who've been brought up, and I don't like to use that because it brings in the whole religious connotations that then kind of sends everybody off on a spiral depending on what their beliefs are. But if we look at it as simplistically as that, and it isn't simplistic, I'm not trying to even imply that it is simplistic in the understanding and the communication of it. There is a divine simplicity to it, but to explain that simplicity, you kind of it gets very complicated. But if we can just look at it as those addictions, those habits that you're using to escape, that you're using to get high because the reality is uncomfortable. You're just prolonging, because it doesn't go away. That reality is still there. It still needs to be dealt with. It still needs to be transformed. It still needs to be changed. Escapism is just a moment's reprieve, and in that moment's reprieve you're inviting all sorts of extra negativity into your life. Be mindful of what you're doing. Each time you get high, each time you get inebriated, energetically you are expanding your aura artificially to such an extent that it breaks, that it cracks, that you create gaps in your energetic barrier. It's like having scrapes and scratches and open wounds on your skin. Infection can get in energetically, and it starts to feed into the darkness, making it even harder and even scarier, and making you even more fearful of going and looking at the dark aspects of yourself. And we all have them. We all have our light side and our dark side, and our role on the soul sovereignty path is to balance them. If you need help, if you know there's trauma, if you really can't face doing it on your own, have somebody walk with you, but know that they cannot do it for you. That was the message that came through from Spirit today. I hope it hits those that it needed to hit. If you've liked the video, press that like button. If you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one. Take care.